On the BBC today, man accused of hitting TikToker charged with hate crimes. Right then, this story is of interest because I covered this in a video about a month ago. If you don't remember, it was a large amount of young women who all looked the same being lamped by a fella who was randomly walking around the streets and punching them in the face for no good reason. I know there's been food shortages in New York City, but nobody wants a knuckle sandwich when they miss a meal, do they? Obviously, that's caused by Eric Adams' ineptitude and stupidity, claiming that New York had porous borders and could allow anyone who wanted to come there to move in, only before realising several years later that you can't because there is a finite amount of space and resources in New York City. Funny old thing. Anyway, I'm going to move through now and show you a picture of the fella and read you the story that the BBC's cobbled together. Just be aware, do not adjust your sets, because as soon as you read the term hate crime, I know what you're thinking. The only people who get charged with such things happen to look like me. But despite me almost rolling with this brand, Slav Lives Matter, based off the guy's name, I think we were all in for a bit of a shock. Skibocky Storer appeared in court on Tuesday. A few things of note. First of all, he appears to have his name emblazoned down the front of his tie. I can only assume that's because he lives in a Salvation Army hostel and he wants to make sure the other scruffy tramps aren't pinching his clothes. Two, despite being called Skibocky Storer, he is not Polish or Romanian. And obviously being charged with a hate crime, because generally you don't look like that if you get charged with a hate crime, certainly in the United Kingdom. There was a famous story in Newcastle in England. In fact, let's have a look for it. I always bring me receipts. Girl gang who kicked woman in the head whilst yelling, kill the pasty, pleasant young lady, team playing lady. The gang was freed after the judge hears they weren't used to drinking because they're regulars at Allen's. Yobs ripped lumps of hair from Rhea Page's head during High Street attack, tap danced on her head for 20 minutes, and all four of them got a 6-month suspended sentence. Yeah, so if the roles were reversed and that was 4 gingerbirds from Aberdeen break dancing on the skull of someone who looks a bit like Diane Abacus, whilst shouting, kill the health tourist, right? If the opposite happened, they would have been charged with hate crimes and jailed for a very, very long time. So as we're all aware, a suspended sentence for stomping on someone's skull while shouting things like that is laughable, and there's my receipts. There's a 2-tier justice system. We all know about it by now. There's no need to talk about it any further. But back to the story at hand. A man suspected of random assaults in New York City, including an attack on a woman who posted about it on TikTok, has been charged with hate crimes. Skibocky, everybody's favourite Polish nationalist, was charged with assaulting, stalking and harassing strangers in a series of anti-female, anti-white and anti-Semitic incidents. I can't help but feel if it wasn't for that last one, they really wouldn't have done anything about the other two, would they? I think, and I follow the news quite dogmatically, I think this is the first high-profile story I've ever seen where you've had a blatant racist going around punching people in the face, actually getting charged for it and called anti-white, because it doesn't typically happen. And we know the far left have basically made misogyny part of the state's programme. It's all right when they do it, apparently. Just ask J.K. Rowling. But yeah, I'm cynical. I can't help but feel if it wasn't for that last one, they wouldn't have done anything about the first two. Amusingly, he has also pleaded not guilty on all of the charges, even though he's on video doing it. Being charged with 3 counts of assault, hate crimes, stalking, hate crime, aggravated harassment, according to the Manhattan District Attorney. And one of the girls who was assaulted, Hayley McGugan, was assaulted in late March, and she documented her injury in a video on TikTok, which we've all seen, and that's the one I made a video about. To be fair, after hearing her talk, I do have an iota of sympathy for the Polish nationalist, because she was one of those Valley girl, every sentence sounds like a question types. And she said, you guys, I was literally just walking and a man came up and punched me in the face. And she then said, oh my God, it hurts so bad. I can't even talk. When she's been talking for 2 minutes, bit weird. I can't even talk. Listen to me ramble in an annoying high-pitched voice on TikTok for 5 minutes. Bit strange, but there we go. The district attorney's office said she was allegedly struck in the head, causing her to fall to the ground, which left her with pain and swelling. In another case, a 17-year-old student was elbowed in the neck and swore at and told, "You people think you can do whatever you want." I think we can guess which group he's from. He was also accused of elbowing a 37-year-old woman and harassed a young Jewish couple when they confronted him for tearing down posters for Israeli hostages. So really, this is kind of depressing in that the worm hasn't turned. It seems to just be the looking out for the last group that I talked about. Bit of a shame. I thought maybe they were actually starting to treat people that looked like me with an iota of fairness and decency, and they were going to prosecute big, burly, swarthy gentlemen for punching young women in the face just for looking a certain way. But apparently we're not there yet. We're basically living in apartheid South Africa in reverse. And in a final note, I will say, I do understand where Mr. Stora's coming from. I actually do. Because we've embraced the politics of the commies in the last few years, which is all about stoking resentment and hatred and intolerance and identity politics. So it is perfectly understandable why you've now got blokes like this marching out around the streets, lamping people in the face for no good reason. As I keep saying, the 1990s was a better time. People didn't used to obsess over colour and creed and nationality. Young kids like me used to watch The Cosby Show and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Red Dwarf, and we didn't care about race and ethnicity. And then we spent 20 years indoctrinating different communities to tell them that everything bad about their life is caused by random pasty blokes from Wales, and all of a sudden they start walking around the streets twatting people in the face for no reason, and this apparently surprises people. It's not surprising at all. If I'd been fed the same endless, tiresome commie propaganda that Mr. Stora was no doubt raised on these last 25 years, I think I'd be walking around punching people in the face for no reason as well. It's all on purpose. It's all part of the plan. They are purposely stoking hatred and division and resentment, and this is what you get. A blind man could see it coming 20 miles away. You know it, and I know it. All right, that's all I've got to say about it, though. I hope you enjoyed my take on today's events, and thanks for tuning in. I'll see you all very soon. Hello to all the new members. Welcome following the weekend streams, and I'll be in touch soon. All right, toodle pip. Cheers.